oh man, I haven't got to do this in a while. What fucking episode are we on? This time though, it's like a legitimate, I don't know, because we haven't recorded in I don't know how long.
Episode 58.
58? All right. 58. Hello and welcome to the YASEcast. This is episode number 58. My gosh, it has been a while. I am Nick. Joining me today, I got Velius.
What's up?
And we got Jarv.
Hello.
Hello. I am so happy to sit down and chat with both of you. It has been entirely too long. Real happy to be back in the saddle again. Oh my gosh. So when was the last time? I want to say it was maybe
over a month.
Maybe the very beginning of October, maybe September.
Yeah, October 7th.
Damn. Yeah, it's been a grip and a half. So many things have happened in this past month.
And that just happens as you do.
Yeah, so you
get busy doing things.
Let's catch up. What have y'all been up to in the past month? What have y'all been playing, watching, the usual? Vel, what about you? Why don't you kick us off here?
So I've really begun to just focus less on fighting games lately. Been playing more Atelier Ryza because I beat the first one and I was not ready for it to be over, so I started playing Atelier Ryza 2.
Hell yeah. I remember you talking about that last time we recorded also.
Yeah. So it's like I beat that and I was like, I don't want the characters to go away. So I just started playing the next one.
That's valid. I respect it.
It's like, no, these characters can't leave me behind. I'm not done.
There's more story with them and I want to know what happens.
I made them play with me again. So other than that, just been watching a shit ton of stuff lately. I joined a new book club as well.
Ooh.
Had our first meeting at the beginning of this month. So that's been fun. Been watching a shit ton of Twin Peaks.
Hey, there we go. That's my shit.
So now it's going through just, surrealist Americana folklore nightmare.
Do you have like a favorite season of Twin Peaks?
So I never watched season 3.
Okay.
Because at the time it came out, I didn't have any way to watch it. So
Yeah,
I just never watched it.
Valid.
Now I have the box set, and the only thing I'm missing now is the movie that's on Criterion Collection.
Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Love that movie.
I never saw that either, because it was on the Criterion Collection. The only times I had gone looking for it, it was always $40 fucking. So I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's
I was
good.
lucky enough to have a friend loan it to me.
Yeah, so I'm going to be getting it soon, I'm pretty sure. But I'm just going through both seasons 1 and 2 for right now. So I went and got the box set that they came out with it after season 3 came out. So now I have seasons 1, 2, and 3 on this box set. And I could complain for hours about how bad the box set construction is. So it's like they have season 1 and 2, right, which is 30 episodes, and they have all the discs for that in the front part of the box for the box set.
Okay.
Right? And then they only have 17 episodes in season 3 or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then they have all of those discs in the back part, so it's horribly uneven. Like the front part is so heavy because
it's so much heavier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You have almost twice as many discs, so it's like I'm picking it up and it's like falling over in my hand because they just front ended all these discs in it. I'm like, why?
Is this all on DVD?
It's on Blu-ray.
I think with Blu-ray, I mean, how many discs is it per season?
So season 1 is only 8 episodes, so that's only across 2 Blu-rays.
Oh,
but
that
season
takes up 2? Damn. Okay.
Yeah, season 2 is 22 episodes. So there's
a couple.
That's a lot of discs for
That's
that.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild. Is it like uncompressed audio or video or something?
It's gotta be, right? Like, you would think.
Remember the first episode.
4 episodes per Blu-ray.
It's not even that. So the first Blu-ray for season 1 only has 2 episodes on it because the first episode is over an hour and a half long.
Yeah, it is the big
see,
pilot.
I'm laughing
like a
because
movie.
hearing like, oh yeah, I got like this one disc only has 2 episodes on it. Reminds me of like buying anime at Borders. Yeah,
Yo, FLCL. Yeah, I finally got the special edition FLCL
Yeah,
disc
I
3
started-
with the box, and so I bought 2 episodes.
Yeah, I spent $30 and I got 2 episodes of Cowboy Bebop. Let's go.
Yo, we got this Outlaw Star, only 16 more discs.
Buying anime back in the day used to fucking suck. It was the worst.
It still does suck.
No, it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I was like, no joke, two episodes for a $30 DVD is not an exaggeration. That's dead ass how much I bought 2 fucking things of Cowboy Bebop like that, and I was like, there's got to be a better way. And then I started.
Yeah, but the thing is that
torrenting.
it gets even worse when you realize that the only way to get anime before that was to know someone who had a VHS tape that was probably a bootleg, so the quality was already terrible on
Well, not
VHS,
only that,
and then
but it's like, it got copied. Like, well, that one was that one master VHS, and they copied like multiple times over from it. Oh man.
But that was like, for the longest time, that was the only way to watch anime in the United States, you know? So it was like, when I was watching Dragon Ball episodes in the late 90s, it was because there was a guy in the building from my apartment complex over a building, and he knew people who would import stuff all the time. So he had like 4th or 5th generation bootlegs of Dragon Ball coming in through the mail all the time, you know? He was this big loser, if I'm being honest.
Damn.
But all he did
Got
was just
him.
like trade tapes.
All right, guy.
That
Get
was,
fucked.
That was his entire thing.
Thanks for
was
the
just-
Dragon Ball tapes,
Yeah.
chump.
It's like, thanks for the anime, nerd. Now fuck off. No one likes you.
Damn.
So it's like getting DVDs only had 2 episodes because you're able to find it at Borders or Suncoast was a step up, which is
fair.
sad.
That's fair.
It's just sad how it's still true. It's like even that is a step up. You know that media is just terrible.
Yeah, fuck. There was like, I remember like the first exposure I had to anime that was probably outside of Pokemon, or maybe it was before. I don't fucking remember. But like there was a family friend who went to like the same like karate dojo as us, and there was like one week my parents like, yo, can you like babysit? They probably didn't say yo because they're my white ass parents, but they're like, hey, can you babysit the kids? Like we're just have like a weekend out of town. And so he brought over, because he's like, you seem like a nerd who'd be into anime. So he put over his VHS tapes of Science Ninja Team Gotcha Man. And I watched that. He had the 3 VHSs, they're the OVAs, and one of them you saw a titty. It was great. Yeah, man. That was the shit. Random VHS tapes. You're like, I don't know where you got this. This shit's awesome.
Can I
Can
show y'all
Saw
something?
titty.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, continue.
I was gonna say I was first exposed to Ninja Scroll because it was on a
damn.
VHS. Yeah, but I was like 13 years old. I had no idea what the fuck I was about to watch.
Yeah.
I was like, it's got ninja in the title. It can't be that bad,
Like,
right?
Oh, no.
Oh fuck, it's that bad. Was not ready for everything that they just assaulted my eyeballs
I heard
with.
13 and I was like, that's no good. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes those like parental guidance numbers. Sometimes they're good
They're
for
there
something.
for a reason sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes it didn't mean shit. Sometimes it was like, okay, I know what I don't need to
All
watch.
right, I feel you. You're right this time.
So, I got into anime at one point as a child, and outside of just watching like whatever Cartoon Network and WB in the morning was trying to show me, like whenever I was like, all right, I have a little bit of money, I want to start buying some anime shit. Eventually, I was like, Dad, I need you to take me and my friend Lee to this link that I have sent y'all in YASE Media.
So that's your dad?
To the
Dad,
I was like, Dad, I need
Media.
Dad, link in bio, Dad,
Oh
link
my
in bio. If you
God.
don't mind hitting up my link tree.
Oh man.
So I was like, Dad, I need y'all to take me and Lee to Joy's Japanimation, which is an anime import store in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and the tagline is "All the anime you can handle and a pig." And I don't quite
anime.
understand that. But like, just like the super like irreverent holds up sport kind of like otaku, that is Joy. But she was a nice lady,
Yeah.
I bought one of those FLCL discs, and Lee I think got some like manga and some other anime, and then we all went to Taco Bell, and then we went home. It was a pretty good day.
I like the store hours for 24-hour free comic book day, midnight to midnight.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Joy is a real
It makes
one.
it seem like it's not. It makes it looks like it's not even open at all. It's like from midnight to midnight. Get fucked.
Hell yeah. Yo,
Don't come here for free shit.
They had
this shit. Honestly, is like it looks like it's made out of GeoCities or some shit.
if you click on the link for ham and eggs on there, it brings you to their MySpace page. That's all I have to say about that. They also have, if you go to the they have role-playing games section. They have rulebooks for the Sailor Moon and Tenchi Muyo RPGs. And I'm seeing there is a mature content warning next to the Tenchi Muyo RPG book, and I'm upset about that.
I would like to play the Tenchi Muyo role-playing game. I like Tenchi Muyo.
I do too, but when I see
that was a cool show.
Hey, mature content next to a warning for an RPG book, it makes me think about some of the very awful things I've seen.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong.
Damn.
Well, they have a whole Pocky section.
Yo, this was last... Okay, so the last update they have is from August 9th, 2010. Damn.
Joyce, are you still open?
Yeah, what events?
They open tomorrow at noon. 724. Yeah, the old stomping grounds. Wow, you got to look at the pictures of this place. It looks fucking bonkers. Yeah,
you can
it looks
pop
like
that in the podcast channel.
Yeah, I know exactly. I'm just gonna know. Wow, you really can't right click on this. What is this? Some fucking NFT?
No, if it was an NFT, you could right click it.
Joy once again ahead of the game.
Google Maps is as un-NFT'd. You cannot NFT Google Maps pictures. I suppose I will drop some of these photos in the. I'm just going to put it in the We Made a Podcast. Here's a long-ass Google link.
You can get Duran Gray CDs.
It's not really
there
doing
we go.
anything.
That's... Man. Okay, we gotta get off this website. But also...
Yeah, it certainly is a product of its time. I do love it. We will try to put something about George Japan. Oh, wow, they have an Instagram.
No.
Anyways, I really got to get off
this. Shout out to Joy's
Am I getting called on next?
Keeping it real.
Actually, you know what? Well, hold on. Breaking news. Related search when I bring up Joy's Japanimation from Google. Why is anime so popular?
You know what? Yeah, why is anime
Can
so
you answer
popular?
That?
Let's take anime down.
Why is anime so popular? Next question, lightning round. When was anime created? 1989.
What? No, it's wait. Hold on.
Wrong. Incorrect.
Not that I care about the answer here. I just know that that's not right, though.
What is it, like Astro Boy or some shit
know.
like that?
It's from the 60s at least.
Third question. Is anime Japanese?
I mean,
yeah.
Animation,
Anyways.
no, but anime, yeah.
Shout out to David Lynch and Get Real.
What?
You've never seen that meme before?
No.
It's just this completely out of context quote of David Lynch in an interview where someone asks him a question he doesn't like, so he just snarkily responds with "Get real," and he has that like Midwest tone of voice because he's from Montana.
Damn.
God bless
From
David
Missoula,
Lynch.
Montana, which I had no idea about until like a week ago.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ.
My partner's out in Colorado. Well, she's on a flight coming back over now, but she was in a business trip to Colorado, and then she got an Uber driver who talked about how he takes backpack trips to Montana, and I was like, shit, well, I just started watching Twin Peaks again. David Lynch is from Montana.
There you go. Tell her to stop at Joy's Japanimation on her way back.
Yeah, for real.
I'll tell her to keep a lookout for
just
Joy's
look out the
Japanimation.
window. Look for that shit.
Yo, they got some like old ass Saint Seiya DVDs.
You can't keep reading.
They got Bubblegum Crisis on deck
You can't
right
read the
here.
listings on Joy's Japanimation
They got
for
Dragon
a
Ball,
podcast episode.
Dragon Half. Okay, we can't. Except I'm looking here at.
Except I am, and I can't. You can't stop me.
Do something
Except
about
I
it.
am, because here's the thing. Are you? Hold on. Am I getting called on next?
Yeah.
Can I get called on next, teacher?
Yeah.
Please. I'm going to actually make it segue.
What have I been doing? I've been reading up on Joyce of Animation. Hey, John, what have you been up to this past 2 minutes? What you been up to, dog?
Nothing. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm looking at this picture from Joyce Japan Animation.
Oh. Shout out to our sponsor for this week's episode, Joyce Japan Animation.
You gotta understand, they're like hand-drawn pictures of like the boy from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, I love it. Hold on. Where is this on the website? I'm back in. I'm back in. Let's go.
Tag me in.
I can't figure out how to goddamn link these.
Send me the URL.
These photos. I tried, and Discord ate it. Okay, look in YASE Media right now. 3, 2, 1. Here's the link.
Oh, that's a link. Oh, hell
It worked
yeah!
for me.
Hell yeah, dude! This owns. I love this. I really do.
Edward Elric, you never looked more mediocre.
I love that Inuyasha drawing in the middle. Like, so, okay, dear listener, this is very much like something that your classmate or you would have drawn, like and I know this is going to sound super condescending, but I don't mean it. I mean it in a very endearing way. It's like something you would have seen in like a school notebook. They are not.
The Edward looks pretty decent.
They're not like amazing, but yeah, like they're decent, and like I don't know, it's very charming. And honestly, I'm here for it.
Anyways,
hold on.
So did Sadamoto do the or these?
They might still be open.
The mangas?
Yeah,
no, they're definitely still open.
These pictures are from December 2019. I was worried they would be closed.
Yeah, no, these people. So I mean, they got Attack on Titan on sale right there. I think we're looking at manga right here. So I think I'm looking at the Neon Genesis Evangelion manga right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so all that saying to say, folks, thanks for sticking around through the extended Joyce Japan Animation segment. Again, use codename Jarv's Japanimation at checkout for 10%
Japanimation.
off. Jarv's Jarvanimation. It's JRVANNAMATION. Sort of like anyways.
MISSISSIPPI.
So folks, again, thanks for sticking around. But those who have stuck with me throughout the years, through thick and through thin, have known that there is one flaw with my entire personality. I am perfect in every way except that I haven't watched the classic mecha anime hit Neon Genesis Evangelion until now. Folks, Heather and I watched it, and I thought it was pretty okay. I thought it was actually like a pretty alright show. People tell me like it goes like off the rails halfway through, but I'm like, I kind of understood it. I kind of got it. I had like one friend tell me a little bit about some third impact things towards the end. I thought the ending was kind of okay. I didn't think that it needed a movie, but apparently that's got a whole thing attached to it. So I think 20-something years removed, I kind of just come to the whole thing with no context about the end of Evangelion.
There you go.
It's just sort of like, what? Why did y'all do this?
Okay, damn, that's wacky.
It's on the screen, so I guess I'll like critique it.
Years? That's crazy.
Bro, that's crazy. I liked whenever they just all said congratulations to each other. That's my favorite part. That's crazy. So this isn't going to be like the Neon Genesis spoiler cast, but it's just interesting.
It's 26 years old. Okay, like this show is 26 years old.
The show is old enough to have like a post-grad crisis. Like
it'd be defending its thesis in grad school right now.
Damn. Hold up.
I'm holding.
Evangelion's about to get kicked off fucking Obamacare.
Damn.
If it's 26 years old, like, I mean, it's about to have to go fucking find its own health insurance.
Get a job, nerd. Get a job, shit.
Yeah. Why don't you go get a fucking fourth impact called a fucking fourth Uber gig?
He's gonna have to get
got him.
Instead of getting in the robot, he's gonna have to get out of the robot because he's got to work. Do you think Nerd covers health
go
insurance?
To the polls.
I hate everything.
Yeah, I do too. This sucks.
So, cool show, bad movie. Like honestly, everything about the end of Evangelion. Not interested in really watching that again.
See,
It was just kind of like,
I'm interested into like why you dislike it, because I fucking love End of Eva.
Well, it sort of felt like halfway through the show, like through the whenever it did like the halfway credit scene, I was like, why did they do any of this? I was kind of like, all right, so they amped up a bunch of violence in a show that has like continuously like cut away from like some of the more like violent shots and focused more on the psychological impacts of the violence against the angels. And then also, instead of getting like the cool, no, not really cool, but like the weird kind of push and pull dichotomy of like, here is the sex angle through the lens of the horny teenage boys, Suzuhara and whatever the fucking like cosplay nerd is. And then also, whoops, now we're like making you like the object of the sexual objectification and lust by like putting it in your face instead of like you kind of viewing it through the lens of these teenage boys figuring out their own masculinity. Instead, it's just kind of like, no, here's like where we like literally jerk off into our hands like from the jump. And also like Misato is like gonna give the boy a deep kiss, and that was pretty weird too. I just was like, what happened here? It just doesn't feel like Evangelion anymore, which I guess is sort of the whole thing with like the backlash to the original ending and we want something that's not what we're looking at, and Ano being like, okay, I'll give you that.
Well, that's the thing, is that like, so I've listened to the commentary track because I have the original DVD, like one of the original pressings of the DVD version of End of Evangelion, right? And I've listened to that commentary track literally at least 35 times in the course of my life, right? And it illustrated so much of the lines of thought that went into its entire production, how it's basically a personification of like almost like the deal with the devil, like a Faustian bargain, and that fans essentially got the literal shit that they were asking for from the original ending to basically just have it thrown in their faces, you know, to have, oh, this is exactly what you were asking for. How's it feel? It feel good? No? Fuck you. Like the entire movie, which I guess is and also the reason why it has an intermission credit scene is because it's actually supposed to be 2 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's 25 prime and 26 prime or whatever, like whatever the little dash is.
So it's supposed to be like the kind of literal accompaniment to the last 2 episodes of a lot of the more psychological stuff happening behind the scenes, and now you're seeing like the literal version of what's happening as all that crazy shit is happening in those other 2 episodes, right? So it's like part of its presentation is to go back to a lot of the occult themes that got kind of left behind from those 2 episodes in the original ending, right? Because if you look at the transition from episode like 24 into episode 25 and then 26, all of the occult shit basically just goes away with no explanation. Yeah. And I don't think that was entirely unintentional, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we see the whole story through Shinji's perspective, and he doesn't really know a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see it entirely through his perspective, but we follow him. And while we veer off to like see little foreshadowing moments, I mean, he doesn't know what the fuck the Instrumentality Project is.
Yeah. But it's like a lot of that symbolism still makes sense. Like, and here's the thing: a lot of people will look at quotes from Ano and his several producers of the show back in like the 2000s, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing you have to understand about Hideaki Anno is that he loves to fuck with people, right? So a lot of those interviews were done, like, especially ones where they say, "Oh, the Christian symbolism have absolutely nothing to do with it," except too much of it lines up so perfectly, and Ano is such a perfectionist. You know that it can't possibly be, oh, just a coincidence, you know? Like, it's intentional, and he's a spiritual person and everything too. Like, no one really knows what his specific spiritualism is, but we know that he has some kind of deep-rooted existentialist perspective behind a lot of his different works, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, he's not the type of personality, and that's why he got along with Miyazaki so well, is because they have that same exact, everything has to be in order, lined up, well thought out and executed, not just thrown in for, you know, oh, we got a cross in there, it's Western and cool. It's like, he just loves to fuck with people. Like the entire premise of it is, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. It's very like David Lynch in a lot of ways. It's like, that's for you to find out, asshole. Stop asking me questions. It's like, stop asking me to just hold your hand through everything that you're supposed to be interpreting for yourself, you know? And that's actually something that the Rebuild movies, not the first two, but...
Yeah, now hold up. I haven't seen those yet.
Well,
I've watched the first two Rebuild movies. I actually did that before I started watching the series because I'm stupid. And I was like, hold up. This doesn't seem like I know a little bit about the show, and the things I know haven't happened yet. And that elevator scene didn't go the way I thought it did.
No.
So maybe I need to go back and watch the original series. Now's the right time to watch the Rebuild movies because I'm going to be able to see those differences so clearly.
Yeah. But
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to make it clear that I don't want the spoilers.
No. I'm not going to spoil.
Especially for Thrice Upon a Time.
I'm not going to spoil any bit about it. It's just that what the point of especially the last two Rebuild movies is that then they actually start to go into a separate, like, it's not necessarily the same Evangelion anymore, you know? Like it's its own rebuild. Like that's why it's not called like remake, it's rebuild.
Yeah.
Because it's a reconstruction of those central themes that are still present in the show. But honestly, I was a little bit irritated that even in the third movie it just kind of starts and then they conclude it in the fourth movie, right? Mm-hmm. But it's kind of frustrating that they needed to have the amount of time it took. I was still living at home when the first Rebuild movie came out on Blu-ray.
Those things came out a while ago.
Yeah. So it took...
They started dropping in what, like 07 or 05 or some shit?
2007, because I got the first volume at a Best Buy in 2007.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's like... They spent so long, and I felt like it could have just been wrapped up a lot sooner. I don't know what the holdups about that. I don't really know the background.
They had to make Shin Godzilla.
I mean, that movie was good, but it's a whole different ballgame. But point being is that, like, Rebuild 3 and 4 is where it becomes its own separate kind of entity that retains those core constructs. And my issues with the first two films is that they really didn't feel like Evangelion, you know? It had a lot of, like, the same plot points, but its overall atmosphere, like there was never really that same sense of like oppression that you were feeling, or like a lot of the themes of, you know, like sexual repression felt like diet soda in comparison to the original because there was so much less time to spend with these characters.
Yeah.
And then
I think that sexual aspect is something that has been very weird about the show because my entire like first blush kind of like reaction to the fan base has always been like, why are you trying to argue about like which 14-year-old is best girl in quotes? Like that's disgusting. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I won't spoil anything about the third and fourth, but I will just say that those same concepts get brought up in a way that actually does feel like Evangelion again. Even if I don't think it is going to be like a classic in the way that the original show is, it at least still retains it. I'm just kind of irritated it took so long to get to the point where it feels like Evangelion again is all. Like, I don't think it's, obviously, I'm thinking it. I'm going to think it's valid criticism. But, you know, I think it's fair to say when you're watching something literally labeled Evangelion to have themes present throughout the course of it that feel like Evangelion, not just when it's closing up, you know? Mm-hmm. But it's in that weird spot where it's like, I respect Evangelion for Anno really, especially in a time where he was supposed to be doing what fans wanted, and he takes that opportunity to just kind of be like, I do what I want. Like, middle finger to you. This is what you asked for. I'm going to make it as gruesome as fucking possible. I'm going to make it feel almost exploitative in a lot of ways. Like, as far as film goes, it's one of the few anime movies that actually feels like you could compare it to cinematic masterpieces in a lot of ways, you know? And that its exploration of deeper themes is very, very gruesome and makes you feel very uncomfortable. And it kind of just, you know, shoots you in the shin is how I would describe it. And that it's not supposed to be pleasant. This ending is not supposed to make you feel fulfilled because that's not the point either. And then going into Rebuild, the kind of central thought being, you know, this isn't even a spoiler because it ends with basically the implication that everything is like a cycle, like you're going through patterns of repetition, right? And that ties back into the manga series, and it ties back into the original series, ties back into like how Rebuild starts, you know. So I think it's just interesting. At the least, it's interesting to have something that is willing to almost like defame its own legacy to just do what the creator wants to do, you know? So it's like, I don't know, it also helps that the art is beautiful. This is
It really
period of
does
time
look
where-
nice.
Yeah. And it feels
Yeah.
so human, which I think is what a lot of anime lacks, is that I don't get, like, even when they're talking about, you know, the human elements of life, a lot of anime doesn't feel human to me. But Anno's works tend to feel a lot more human than anything else. No, that's just my 2 cents. I've been rambling for like 5 minutes.
You're good. I think when it comes to End of Ava specifically, coming at it from like, you know, 25 years later or whatever, it's like I engaged in good faith with NGE and I liked it, and it surprised me in how much that I like actually opened up to a lot of its themes of like isolation, alienation, and like anxious avoidance, and how we like use our cognitive distortions and sometimes like willingly turn to them to like protect ourselves from like any more like deeper meaningful reflection that could result in vulnerability, which could result in closeness.
Yeah.
And like the way that gets wrapped up in the show is like, honestly, to me, like very, very awesome. Like I think the themes of that show and the way that it actually wraps up within the 26 episodes are great, and I didn't have a problem with it. But I wasn't there at the time in 96 or whatever when people were like clamoring for more giant robots and titties and cum in hands or something. I don't know. Like that. So like, I gotta say, my wife was watching it with me, and so she really liked the show. But then that movie like killed all her goodwill for it. She was like, "This sucks. Like, I hate all of this. This is a big waste of fucking time." I'm like, "You said it, hon. Like, it fucking." Can someone clear this up for me? I figured at the end of actual Evangelion, at the end of 26, the congratulations scene is like, "Hey, you figured out that like humans are supposed to like work together and like be cool with each other and like be like, you know, you can't exist alone. You have to work with people and, you know, depend on them and live with them." And that seems like that's the third impact. Like that's the instrumentality. Like, congratulations. But then what happened at the end of Evangelion? Like, he rejects the instrumentality. He rejects this, like, you know, creation of one unity of everyone, and then tries to choke Asuka out again. Like, I gotta sit with it more, or like watch it again or something, and
honestly
just ignore the parts that are gross.
I think it will benefit you to watch it again, because a theme in End of Evangelion is like both finality and the notion of there's a price that you have to pay for individuality. You know, there is that price for most people, is that vulnerability, and End of Evangelion makes it like literal. You know, like he has to reject instrumentality, because if he doesn't, then everything remains in the primordial soup. Everyone is still connected. There is no vulnerability because that concept doesn't exist, because everything is one and everything is the same. So in order to embrace individuality, you have to accept sometimes literal catastrophic consequences as a result. You have to open yourself to that possibility of that reality existing, you know. That's what makes the beginning of Rebuild 1 kind of substantial, because then you see so like the end of Evangelion, you have the sea of like the Sea of Dirac, right? The Red Sea.
LCL.
The beginning of Rebuild starts with that exact same framing, where you have the red turn back to blue, right? You see the pattern starting over, but now the implication is it going to lead down the same path, or is it going to be a different ending this time? You know, it ties back into everything being a circle in Evangelion. Everything is repetition. Everything is, you know, and that's part of why when you see the changes that they made between the two different series, it's like, you question why that change was made, because the implication is that Shinji had some measure of control. So was Asuka's character changed because he did that, or because of his own wishes or her wishes impacted their own recreation, right? And there's a lot of reasons why Shinji would choose and then not choose to choke out Asuka at the end of Evangelion, right? And I think part of that,
they were getting into it like a couple minutes earlier. So
I think part of it is that he's not sure of what that answer is for himself either. And he's struggling to get to what that answer is. And then he still can't decide, like, I think the point of the end of Evangelion is that you don't have neat, flowery endings in real life very often. And those consequences tie back into, for some people, those consequences in making that choice for him, as a person, to embrace individuality again after taking all those steps and literally, going into primordial soup and seeing everything happen through the perspective of other people, like seeing why Misato kissed him, like right before she dies. Spoiler alert. Why she embraced sexuality is because that was her coping. That was her coping mechanism. That was how she expressed herself. That was all that she really knew. That's why she and Kaji got along so well, and then Kaji explored that for himself. It's a whole like complex spider web of extremely intense and complicated social interactions.
Freudian analysis.
Yeah. So we could be here forever. We could have an entire podcast.
Yeah,
but
it's Freud all the way down with that shit, and Christianity all the way down with that shit. That's one thing I did want to return to. A lot of people have been telling me just totally ignore the Christian themes. I was raised Catholic. I cannot ignore the Christian themes. I literally cannot. Also because, like, if you don't really know what's going on at the moment, it seems like the text. It's not even subtext. It's just the text because you see a gigantic fucking cross like appear out of nowhere.
There's like, no subtlety in that shit.
Zero subtlety. And so the people who are like, oh, just ignore it. I don't want to, because also, even if Hideaki Anno is being completely serious when he's like, yeah, it's totally just, a cool aesthetic and total bullshit, which I don't believe he's being totally truthful when he says that. There's enough of it, and it's so substantial, and it all, again, like you're saying, lines up, and there's like legit allegories you can make. At that point, it becomes critiquable, like, content.
Yeah.
It becomes text that you can like draw conclusions from and be like, okay, even if Anno says that he wasn't trying to do this, this is real. This is it. And so I like that. I think that stuff is fun because you can't just be like, no takesy backsies. It's not about Jesus.
Except it totally is.
Except for that one scene where fucking Gendo is sitting there doing the fucking Gendo pose, and like there's just like a cross like literally on his shoulder. I'm like, oh yeah, he's fucking carrying the cross. I fucking get it, Anno. I get it, man. The 12 stations of the Ava. God. Anyways, literally, that's it. That's how this is so important to the Jarv lore of like me watching Evangelion that like that's it.
Just, I think the immediate like guttural response of saying, like, fuck this is actually the natural response to your first watching of it, because it has that ability to like absolutely kick you in the gut, which might not be what you were expecting, but when you watch it again, you might pick up on things that you didn't really think about before that start to tie back into, especially the original show, where there's a lot of references to things. Like in the first episode, they already have that spiritual element of Shinji seeing Rei before the first angel has even arrived to Tokyo 3, right? Mm-hmm. So of course it's like a lot of people were just like, oh no, they added that shit in halfway through because they needed stuff to be weird. It's like, but explain her showing up in the first episode then. Like literally the first episode of the show, they already had supernatural things happening.
Rei's just been weird from the jump. I mean, even if you didn't see Rei before the angel attacks, I mean, hey, if you don't get in the robot, hey, will you bring out the chick that's fucked up? Yeah, bring out the chick that's fucked up. Yeah, you see this chick that's fucked up?
Damn.
She'll get in the robot. Like,
no, but it's like,
I'd be like, this is pretty spooky. I don't know about that, man.
Literally in the first minutes, you have Shinji encountering what seems to be like a ghost of Rei, right? So that has to be intentional. They don't just animate that for no reason.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, that shit was planned. That's why we know that Anno just likes to fuck around with people who do interviews with him, because he wants us to figure it out for ourselves. It's subjective, and it's meant to be subjective. So people trying to find purely objective points is kind of missing the point at the same time.
You're right.
But I just appreciate...
You're right, and you should say it.
I appreciate the artistic liberties he took with his work, especially at a time where, like, we're talking about, when Gundam was still one of the It still is, but at the time was going through, G Gundam and a whole bunch of like fan service. Like the industry at large was very much more like deliver what the fans want. We need to market this shit. We have toy companies.
I miss the days when fan service just meant, yeah, it's Gundams, but this time we're dropping like 90% of the political shit. They're just gonna beat the fuck out of each other. Hell yeah! You know what? Let's go back to that kind of fan service. That's the fan service I can get into every once in a while. I'm sick of what fan service means in 2021. That shit sucks ass.
Oh,
and that's just Senran Kagura.
Oh my god. So I haven't watched any of the next time on things for Evangelion because trying to watch it on Netflix, I'm not trying to sit through fake Fly Me to the Moon. That's not actual Fly Me to the Moon. Absolutely not. But listening to the Waypoints re-listen podcast from a couple years ago, they're saying that on these next time ons, it's like really weird, like this kind of like conflicting kind of messaging where it's like, it's the angel attack, and like here's the thing: you can tell that the show isn't about angels attacking and fighting robots because the next time on is like Shinji survives the angel attack, but at what cost to his mental health?
Yeah.
Like at what cost to like his psychological state? But also fan service next time.
Well, it's actually like a joke amongst like longtime people who are fans because it's like when you hear that, and it's mostly coming from Masato who says that. Mm-hmm. And yet there's like no fan service that gets delivered on that. So that's like part of the joke is that she keeps promising fan service, and it goes back into the very first episode where she sends Shinji essentially a picture that is like semi-lewd that has like her cleavage in it, saying, hey, you should come to Tokyo 3 with like a kiss of lipstick on the picture. And then she gets there and the first thing that she does is like pick him up in her beaten up car because it's either that or they die. It's like no fan service that really gets delivered, and a lot of like the times that there is nudity, it's mostly for humor, not really to be sexy or anything.
Yeah, there's like maybe the third or fourth episode where Shinji gets into a situation where he does like the accidental boob grab thing to Asuka, and it gets the big reaction in the slap. Or maybe it's not to Asuka, maybe it's to Misato. I don't remember. But either way, later in the episode, does it to fucking Rei at Rei's apartment with the panties flying everywhere. Mm-hmm. And you don't get the slapstick. You don't get the big reaction. You don't get the slap across the face. You don't get the laugh track or anything like that. You just get silence and then, like, you're in my way.
Yeah.
And, like, literally just, like, removes herself from the situation, not because she's, like, sexually grossed out, but, like, once he hears the latch from like her closing the door and he's like trying to explain everything, he's like, oh, like I really don't matter like that, huh?
Yeah. Which it says, and that opportunity is used to explain a lot about her character, even with just one simple interaction. Like you get a handful, like a literal fistful of exposition about their characters just from that one exchange, and it's very meaningful in that how she's approaching her life is so substantially different from how Shinji experiences his life, So I think so much of it is intentional and valuable, and that's what makes End of Evangelion like twisted, yes, but still valuable in that there's so much delicate care in why everything is as gruesome as it is, why everything is such this perverse, like sickening version of the 26 episodes that you just finished watching, Like,
yeah, I guess it can't, it doesn't have the hours of entertainment to like build and pull and push on some of the sexual themes. So,
yeah,
not to mention it's also trying to do the whole I'll show you the fucking movie you want to watch, motherfuckers kind of situation. I can feel it's like palpable the disdain that the movie has for its viewer, and in a way where I guess I was fighting against it watching it, but if I watch it again, I'll probably try to lean into it and just be like, sure, yeah, hurt me plenty, like whatever. Like
that's the thing.
Let's see it.
It understands that the natural reaction is to be kind of disgusted, That's part of the whole point, is coming to grips with that, and that the end is not really ever going to be what it is that you're working so hard to make it. Like the ending is in that, like outside of Evangelion, the real life is always as messy, if not more gruesome and messy, nothing ever gets, neatly wrapped up like a lot of media portrays it as, because that's just not how anything works. Everything comes with that cost, not necessarily in relation to, capital, as a lot of people will, kind of inherently attribute it to, but nothing ever works out like it's supposed to, I guess, is kind of the entire point. You know, a lot of things end up becoming twisted even with the best of intentions. So you have to kind of like combine that with the original ending for the series and then the film's ending. You know,
Yeah.
they're complements in that regard.
Yeah, because like sometimes they don't feel like it when I sit in my brain. Where like, you know, it's 25 and 26 really have such a disconnect because, like you're saying, a lot of the occult themes drop, but when they come back and end, they also come with like over exposition, over explanation. They come with gratuitous action scenes that are just like not really shown in regular Ava. I mean, the whole like Asuka versus Ava series like fight is like not something that the angel fights are ever like. The most like violent the angel fights get are probably like one of the later ones with the crazy tube man person or
Yeah.
the worm thing, and then Ramiel, shout outs to fucking Ramiel. Shinji gets fucking murked like frame one coming up out of the elevator, and Ramiel's like, I already got the beam and is going through a fucking building to murk your ass. The best fucking angel.
It's like also
Play the fucking fan cam.
it's also like Asuka's also the first one to really figure out the mystery of the Avas, you know, which is also a subversion of what you were expecting, that either Shinji or one of the adults would be the first one to truly figure out what the meaning of the AT field is, you know. But it's Asuka, not the, you know, the hero of the story that's been built up for all these episodes. It's Asuka, which I think is also interesting.
Like the most mom issues.
Yeah. But it's also like another interesting thing where it's like the support character has to take over the main character role, but her ending is way different than Shinji's, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we could, like I said, we could keep talking about this forever because
I was about to cut y'all off. It's been going on for 35 minutes.
That's
All right,
Evangelion.
So for any of you,
the end of Evangelion.
for any of the people out there who haven't watched Evangelion like me, we made it. Hey, you made it through. Send me a tweet on Twitter, SD_Eclipse. I will print you out a certificate.
To Joy's Japanimation.
Yeah, I'll buy you $5 Joy's Japanimation gift certificate.
They got to redeem
Terms and
you got to
conditions
redeem
apply.
one of the fan art drawings that's on the walls there.
You can't put a price on priceless art like that. Those look better than any NFT ever will.
I'm laughing because it's accurate.
It's accurate, man.
Well, Nick, what you been doing?
First of all,
Nick, what you
what
been
an
doing?
excellent question. Props for that. All timer. I've gotten really into Death Stranding over the last month, which is something that I haven't expected.
What?
We got a
Death
delivery boy.
Stranding, the baby game.
So
with the baby,
with the baby.
with the baby.
This is the rest of the podcast. Just going back and forth saying that.
Man, and the boxes.
But yeah, so when Death Stranding came out 2 years ago, I was very like, I don't care about it. Like, it's cool this exists, but like whatever, it'll be a pass. And then I kind of decided to get back. Like, it was on sale for like $15 or something, and PS5 upgrade is $10, and have a PS5 OLED. And all right, cool, fine. I'm gonna get the shit. And I found myself really enjoying it, and I couldn't quite put a finger on why at first. Not to say that like the game isn't fun or that I'm not enjoying it, but it's one of those games where if you describe it to someone else, if I said, "Hey, here's everything that I did," you'll be like, "That sounds incredibly boring." So you had a really shitty walk to a place where you dropped off someone's mail, and then you picked up more mail to go bring back to the first person that you talked to. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I did. It doesn't sound very fun.
You did the quest from Ocarina of Time where you try to get like
I'm trying to get the Bigoron sword. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you got it. You know what it's about. Death Stranding is just Ocarina of Time fetch quest.
The original,
yeah,
the original Strand like.
Yeah. See, the big Goron sword it's just a big stick. I don't get what's not to get. But anyway, what I ended up really liking about it is how desolate the game is. And at first it really bothered me how little music there is. How music only comes in at very certain points, to the point where you can listen to music if you're resting, but you can't listen to it like while you're actually out in the field. You can't even, and this is something I discovered, so I was like, fuck it, I'll download the Spotify app on PS5, and then I'll play like that, on the console. It won't let you do that. It specifically is like, hey, you cannot have Spotify playing in the background while you're playing this game. And at first it really bothered me, but now I actually really enjoy it. And the reason is that I want something that is very relaxing, something where I feel like I'm very alone, and then it clicks to me. I understood why I liked it so much. I understood what I was thinking of, what I could compare it to, that I also really enjoyed for similar reasons. And that's No Man's Sky 1.0. Where I am alone, I can truly feel the weight of being insignificant in the world. I am in a very desolate, cold, unfeeling, uncaring landscape. And I'm just kind of vibing out and just moving along and appreciating the silence. And like once that hit, I was like, holy fuck, like this all makes sense now. So it has become like my number one like decompression game lately, and I'm having an absolute blast. I'm taking the story kind of slowly. Where it's like, okay, I'll do like a main story beat, and then I'll do a bunch of side missions, try and level up my relationship with all the different people that I come across. And what's nice about that too, and something at first I didn't really care about, but you get like mail from them, and at first, like when you first start the game, it's a lot of like, hey, did you know you can hold down the X button to keep climbing if there's things to climb? It's like, yeah, fuck you, I don't give a shit about that. But now it's like, so one of the characters that you come across ends up getting married to someone else, and I'm starting to get like letters from both of them about like, hey, maybe living together wasn't all that it's cracked up to be and stuff like that. And I'm getting like, these characters are a lot more fleshed out than you would originally let on if you never bothered to like look into some of these emails that they send you. And so looking through those has been really enjoyable in a way that I didn't usually expect to. Because normally I don't really give a shit about a lot of that. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's keep going. Bring this shit on. But like sometimes you also get like, hey, I saw like this thing in the wild over in this spot. It looks kind of weird. Maybe you should check that out sometime. And that doesn't come across to you like in orders. That's just like shit someone will say in an email. So that was kind of incentivized me to start looking through these more, and then I actually started reading them because I enjoyed reading them. So I don't know. It's a game that I never expected to really get into, but here I am. For like multiple reasons, just being stupidly into this game. Have any of y'all played it?
Absolutely not.
I played a little bit of it, and I didn't care much for it.
That's fair.
I don't know, like
I actually want to check it out. I never found it on a good sale.
I did appreciate its oddities, and it has a Kojima thing of having like a lot of very intense, interesting characterization.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about it. Just maybe the gameplay loop just didn't drag me in like I wanted it to.
It's also a lot of exposition at the front.
Yeah, that's also a classic Kojima problem,
right? But like once, and that was definitely
that guy just needs to direct movies.
It's definitely hard for me at first. Like once I got past that, and the game kind of was like, okay, you're off on your own now. Like it got so much more enjoyable to me. And then too, like once you start unlocking like vehicles that you can build, it becomes a hell of a lot more enjoyable as well. I found myself like really wanting to rebuild all the roads and things, even though I didn't have to. Even though I was like, okay, I can build it up to here and then I can go around and whatever. But I got this. Honestly, it was like a sense of pride because knowing that it's all online and getting like, oh, like a bunch of other like online players have used like the roads that you built. Like, here's, like, all these likes. And it's not even enjoying it from, like, oh, likes, number go up. Yeah. No, it's just, like, I don't know. It feels good to build something for someone else. Even if it's, like, a virtual world.
Yeah. In a way that's not even, like... Because you're not watching them use it or anything.
Right.
You know, you're just getting a notification.
It's not a multiplayer game. I'm never going to see these players. I'm never going to interact with them in, like, a personal way. It's like the same thing.
It's like a step above leaving a good note in Dark Souls.
Yeah, kind of. It's I don't know. Like I've thinking about it now, it's making me think about the way that we interact with people, and especially like the way that games can have a lot of really cool interaction that you might not get in other ways. And like my brain immediately goes to playing Journey for the first time, and getting towards the end of, spoilers for Journey, but Journey's been out for like 15 years, so like you had your chance.
Oh, I never played that one.
Oh, you've never played it?
I don't care.
Okay, no,
I don't care.
It's not very long.
I just want to give a little bit of background then to the moment. So towards the end of the game, there's a point where you and the person that you're playing with are climbing a mountain, and it's snowing, and eventually you realize you start to move slower, and you begin to like, you realize that someone falls over, and then you end up falling over, and it fades to black, and then it fades back in. And so when we realized what was happening, that we were about to like potentially die on this mountain, the person that I was playing with, we both started moving closer together. And then we started like every once in a while just like making like the little like sounds, like the chime to show like, hey, I'm still here, I'm still moving, stuff like that. And then the sequence afterwards, like both of you like waking up on like towards the summit of the mountain, and you're both like flying around, and we just like flew in circles around each other, spamming the button. It's weird little shit like that, right? Completely nonverbal. But in both of the like in that before and that after moment, it's without any words, without any facial gestures. You know, both of us understood the emotions. We both had the same thing on our mind. And that was one of the coolest fucking moments in games for me. Like, hands down, I will never forget that moment. And also
when you realize that when they actually confirm that, oh, this is not an AI partner. Like, this is
it's a real
human
person.
being.
It's always real people. And like, fuck.
It hits you hard, man.
It really, really does. But like, that was only so meaningful to me because that's all we had to communicate. If I was just talking to someone on a headset, or if I was like talking like with like, and as much as I love you guys, but if I was talking with y'all like like on Discord while we were both playing that together, like it wouldn't have anywhere near the impact.
On me. Fuck, yeah. Come on, fuck, man, I'm down. Fuck,
yo, res me.
On me. Yo, I need res.
But yeah, and so that's making me think about the way that you indirectly communicate with other people in Death Stranding is very reminiscent of that to me. And it's been something that I wasn't expecting to really enjoy out of the game, but I'm kind of getting, both with NPCs and with other player characters. So I don't know, it's really cool.
It's definitely a very interesting concept of a game. I the little time I played with it, I was actually just thinking, I really wish I liked this more.
Yeah, I've been there for so many games. I totally get you. There's been so many games where I'm like, man, if I was into this, I would love it.
Because I love the style of the game and everything, but it's like it didn't get me hooked on the loop, which for a game like that is exactly what you need to do. You know, there's been a lot of different like survival games for me too that just the concept drags me in. Like I thought I would enjoy something like Subnautica more. Maybe if I tried it again with all the new content, I might, but it just didn't grab me. Also, I have a big fear of deep water, so I'm already working through that.
Oh, that's the wrong game. Literally the wrong game.
Yeah. So it's like, maybe that's not going to be for me, but I really wish I liked it.
Like I said, I totally get that. I mean, so as funny as it is to me bringing up No Man's Sky and like as my like a first example of what Death Stranding reminded me of, that's a game that was something that was like perfectly up my alley in 1.0, which is as many people hated. But then as the game went on and got improved and more things were added to it, I didn't like it anywhere near as much. So like it's such a fragile line of like, this is perfectly in my zone to going so far outside of it.
I've actually been tempted to get into No Man's Sky myself now that that's not because of like the multiplayer element, because there's so much more stuff that you can like build and create and use the resources that you were, you know, harvesting and mining and stuff, you know. Now that there's a lot more purposes for that exact activity, rather, my problem with 1.0 is that there wasn't really that much that you could do with everything that you were collecting.
It all just went into ship upgrades, really.
Yeah.
Which is, I was fine with, because all I ever wanted out of that game was fly in space, land on a planet to get more things so I could keep flying through space, and listen to post-rock. And 1.0, it knocked those three off perfectly.
I wanted a little bit more interactivity.
Totally
with that
valid.
Myself. I wanted to be able to like at least build something, you know, something where you could like leave a mark other than just taking resources and fucking off to the next place.
Yeah.
You know. And I really do not give a single shit about the multiplayer stuff that's in it now. I really do not care. That's not what I'm there for, which luckily is optional in the experience. So I think maybe if I tried it now, I'd enjoy it a lot more. But I'm playing other things, you know.
Right.
Like,
you know,
I have all these
wish
Atelier
listed
games
on
to play
Steam,
through. So.
You know, like it should be cheap enough at this point, or if not, like I'm sure it'll go on sale for holiday season stuff. So, you know, you never know.
I'd probably just get it on PS4 just because that's when I'm playing something I'm just kind of mellowing out on my couch, you know.
Right.
I have my big screen TV to play it on, and I'm not interested in multiplayer, so I don't really have to give a shit about that. And it's always cool to revisit games that you might not have enjoyed before, and then finding stuff to enjoy about it that wasn't there the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I want to go play some Death Stranding. Hey, you know, we're going to call it here for tonight. Thanks so much for listening. We're also like at an hour, so that works out pretty damn well.
Hell yeah.
Thank you all for listening. This is episode 58. I am Nick. Thank you again, Vel. Thank you again, Jarv, for joining us today. Where can the people find y'all at? Someone go first.
Okay, so me, you can find me at Joy's Japanimation.
Yeah! Shout out
and
to
over
Joy.
at Twitter at JarvDog, DAWG.
Velius, where can the people find you at?
Find me on Twitter at _Velius and find me talking about movies and shit. I just wrote a review for a very good, interesting movie called Ascension over at realbattleonfilm.wordpress.com.
Hell yeah. You can find me on Twitter at SD_Eclipse. You can find Joy's Japanimation on Twitter at twitter.com/JoyJapanimation. They're tweeting. They got a tweet from 9 hours ago. It's just an Instagram, but like, hey, go follow Joy. Joy's a real one. They're followed by Chip Cheesem. Yeah,
What?
Chip Cheesem's following.
The Chip Cheesem?
I can't tell if this is a bit or not, but Chip Cheesem does like some really damn good Let's Plays and stuff like that. Super cool dude. Anyway, that is all. Once again, thanks for joining us. Y'all have a good night, and we will see you next time.